Hi, grade sixes. Today we're going to be carrying on with a little bit of language. We're going to continue learning about verbs, and we're going to look some more at progressive verbs. And you're going to correct your answers from the work that you did on page 86 and 87 of your textbook, and you're going to make some additional notes. So you'll need some colored pens or your pencil, and get ready to go. All right, this is what it looks like in your textbook. It's that double page over there. And we're going to start looking at question number 1. Copy the following sentences into your book and underline the verbs in the continuous tense. You need to say whether each one refers to the past continuous, the present continuous, or the future continuous tense. Right. A. While Michael was stirring, Mum was asleep. So the first thing you need to do is make sure that you've written the sentence in full in your book. Then you're going to underline the verbs in the continuous tense. Please do not worry if you don't understand it yet. Hopefully through the lesson you'll pick up bits and pieces, and by the end you'll feel a little bit more confident. Please do not feel frustrated or worried or anxious if you make mistakes. I'm expecting us to make mistakes along the way, so we'll just do our best. All right. There is our verb that's in the continuous tense. I've underlined it. Was stirring. Anytime you underline or put anything in brackets, you need to label it as well. The label needs to be underneath. So first of all, I want to ask that you label it verb if you haven't done so already. Then they want us to say whether it's past continuous, present continuous, or future continuous. Was, is the past tense. So under verb, can you write in brackets past continuous? Right. It's continuous because progressive or continuous tense verbs must have a helping verb. There is a helping verb and a verb, that's our main verb, plus ing. All right, let's look at B. What are you reading? Now there's a trick here. I wonder who's got this trick. All right, there are our verbs, are reading. There is our helping verb, are. We have our main verb, read, and ing. So together they make our verb. Now we know that it's in the continuous tense because of that ing and the helping verb. And they want to know specifically, our reading, is that something that happened in the past continuous tense? Our reading, is that something that's happening now in the present continuous tense? Or in the future? What are you reading? Now that is something that is happening at the moment. It is continuous action. It's progressive or in progression. So is it past, present, or future? It's present. What are you reading? Okay, so the reason they gave you this question in particular is because they wanted to show you that the helping verb and the main verb don't have to be right next to each other. They are connected by meaning. All right. So are reading, those two verbs work together. It doesn't matter if there's another word in between. All right, let's look at C. When will you be coming home? All right, now the helping verbs in this case are the words will and be. And the main verb is there, coming. So please label it verb. Make sure that you've underlined will, be, and coming separately, and that you have not underlined you. If you've underlined you or labeled it as a verb, please cross it out. All right. You is not a verb, it's playing a different role in the sentence. Now they want us also to say whether it's past, present, or future continuous. Now, if you want to decide what tense it is, then you don't look at the main verb. Okay. Coming, or the ing, tells us that it's continuous, or the action is progressing, it's in progress. The way that you see the tense is by looking at those helping verbs. They give us a clue as to the tense. So will, is that something that happens in the past, in the present, or the future? It's something that happens in the future. So will be coming, that is the future continuous tense. Okay, can you see the will be? Okay, those are our helping verbs. Can you see coming? Okay, that come is a form, and ing, That tells us it's continuous. Good. Please don't worry if you've made some mistakes or if you didn't set your work out exactly the same way. We're working together, so we're going to solve our mistakes and our misconceptions as we go. I want you to look at this little graph. So it was on the top of page 87. I'd like you, when I've finished reading it out to you, I'd like you to draw it as a little diagram in your book. But for the moment, I'd like you to just listen. It's about adding ing to the end of a verb in order for us to make the progressive or continuous tense. Now, these are not complicated rules. They might look complicated, but all they are, they're spelling tips. So, verbs that end in an E. If a verb ends in an E and we want to change it to the continuous tense and add an ing, then we drop the E and we add ing. Most of you do this naturally. Sometimes you make a mistake, but now you know that if you have a verb like live and you want to make it continuous, simply add ing, but you need to drop the E. All right. Now, if you have a verb that is consonant, vowel, consonant, so it's like a sandwich with a consonant on either side and a vowel in the middle, then you double the last consonant. Now, it sounds confusing, but it's as simple as this. If you have a word like sit, can you see how the S is a consonant, the I is a vowel, and the T is consonant, sit? If I want to change it to the continuous, it's not enough to just add ing. I need to double the consonant, sitting. Good. Here's another spelling tip. If you have a verb that ends in an L, like travel or cancel, after a vowel, then you need to double the L. So I've seen this mistake often. Here we have the word travel. There's a vowel followed by an L. Now I want to change it into the progressive or the continuous form. But before I add the ing, I need to double the L. Travel, ling. Okay, and one more tip for spelling. If you have a verb that ends in IE, then you're going to drop the E and change the I to a Y. So here's an example, tie. If I want to change that into the progressive or the continuous tense, I need to drop the E, change the Y to an I, and add ing. I'd like you to draw a similar diagram in your book. You don't need to learn this diagram off by heart, but you should have it as a reference so that when you're unsure of the spelling, even if you're doing questions like the ones we've done today, if you're unsure of the spelling, you can go and double check. Remember, if you spell those verbs incorrectly when you're answering questions, it's going to be incorrect. So that's why you need to double check. If you can't see very nicely on the screen, then you don't need to copy from the screen. You can go to page 87 and copy from your textbook. Good. We're going to look at number 2. They ask you to rewrite the following sentences. You're going to choose either the simple past form of the verb or the past continuous form of the verb in the brackets to complete the sentence. So you're actually looking at the verb in the brackets to help you, and that's the word that's going to give you most of the clues. So make sure you've written this whole sentence out, no shortcuts. What Michael do in brackets when Stella come in brackets up on deck. Alright, so let's start with the word in brackets because that's going to give us the biggest clue. If I want to change do in order to make sense, I'm going to change it to doing. Alright, you can see that the do is the main verb and then we've added ing to make it continuous. But it's going to need a helping verb or it's going to need something else for that part of the sentence to make sense. We can't say what Michael doing. Well, we could, but it's not going to sound correct. So, what was Michael doing? That was, it's helping our continuous form of the verb, but that verb in itself is a simple past tense verb. The do is the main part, and the ing shows us that it's continuing, it's going on. Alright, then when Stella come, all they want us to do in this case is to add something. We want to change that tense to the past. Remember, it says choose either the simple past or the past continuous. So whatever we're going to do, we're going to have to change it to the past tense. So quite simply, how do you change come into the past tense? And you should know that The past tense is came. We don't need to add any helping verbs. The sentence makes sense as a whole. Let's just read it one more time to check. What was Michael doing when Stella came up on deck? Right. Can you see how the sentence makes sense as a whole? Please don't worry if you made a mistake here and there. Just adjust your words so that it looks similar using a pen or a colored pencil. Okay, there we go. Simple past tense of the verb. Let's look at another one. B. While Mum at the wheel, Dad make tea. Alright. Now I had lots of different variations on this, but let's try and work together. Alright, there's a space there. Alright, the simple past word to complete the sentence is was. Alright, can you see there? While Mum was at the wheel, Dad tea. Okay. Now we're going to change that into the past continuous form. So we're going to take the root word make and add ing, and we're going to add a helping verb. And because we've used was at the beginning, we're going to use was again. So let's see. While Mum was at the wheel, Dad was making tea. Right. Please don't panic if you are making mistakes or you haven't been accurate. The more we do it, the more you're going to become accurate. Right. There's our helping verb. There's our main verb. And we've changed it. We've taken away the E and we've added ing. So there we have the past continuous form of the word. Let's look at C. Michael, notice that Stella, not wear her harness. Right, let's start with the first word in brackets, notice. Right. So there we go. We're going to simply change it to the past tense and use a simple past tense. So if you want to take a word and change it simply into the past tense, all we do is add a D or an ED. Michael noticed. Right. Can you see how it's a simple past tense, the one that you learned at first when you were in earlier grades? Right. Now we're going to use these words in brackets, not where. We're going to change not where into the past. It needs to be the past continuous. We cannot leave out the word not, because if we drop that not, we're going to change the meaning of the sentence. So it has to be there somewhere. We're going to use the root part of the verb, where. We're going to add a helping verb, was. And because it's continuous, we're going to add ing. So there's our helping verb. There's our main verb. We haven't eliminated the word not because that would change the meaning. We have an ing showing it's past continuous. Now, when doing any sentence, you have to read it after you've done it to check that it sounds correct. Let's check if it sounds correct. See, Michael noticed that Stella was not wearing her harness. Okay, so you may have had variations, but you can hear that that sounds correct. Right. Again, please don't feel anxious or worried if you've made mistakes or if you didn't understand what to do at first. The more we do this, the more things are going to fall into place. And before you know it, you will be a professional at doing this. So make sure that you've corrected your work and written some additional notes. Next time, we're going to read the poem on page 88 of your textbook. And that brings us to the end of today's lesson.